beautiful creative people. This is Kiala Givehand coming to you today from Givehand Creative, and it is Sunday, September 15th. It's 8:40, and that's p.m. by the way, just to be clear. Yes, I am starting ridiculously late on this book. I have had the most amazing weekend of making art and workshopping, and so book 37 is happening. It's just happening really late on a Sunday. So I spent the weekend at an art retreat called Color Journal Love with Tracy Bautista, and she is, if you don't know who she is the author of two books, Doodles Unleashed and Collage Unleashed, and she actually lives pretty close to me, about 30 minutes from where I live here in the Bay Area, and her studio is very close. And so I took a workshop from her this weekend, and it was phenomenal, amazing, absolutely insane good. I had the time of my life. I learned so much. For instance, I learned how to macrame, right? I know a lot of people are probably like, that's so easy, Kiala. Yeah, well, I never was taught how to do that. So I learned how to macrame, and I'm excited about that. I didn't get to finish my book because, well, to be honest, I was running my mouth and talking and enjoying meeting the folks in the workshop and taking my time figuring out where I wanted my pages to go. So I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'm going to do a journal flip of this when it's all done. So I didn't do my covers yet. But when it's all done, I will do a journal flip. But I'll just give you a little bit of a sneak peek at some of the pages. It was an amazing workshop in that she is like one of the most humble and generous people you're ever going to meet in this sort of art world. She's an author. She, travels around the world giving workshops, but she is like super just like a regular person and very humble and extremely gracious and generous and patient. So it was a really, really good workshop. She gave us time and freedom and space to play, and she has so many art supplies. It's unbelievable in her studio. And she really gave us free reign and access to everything. She gave us this huge kit that we took home with us, and I mean, it was just an amazing, amazing workshop. So if you ever get a chance to take a workshop with her, I highly recommend it. And that's my 2 cents. So anyway, this is just a little, I'll give you a little quick sort of sneak peek into the beginnings of my journal. Like I said, I didn't finish because I was talking on the last day and fellowshipping and building community and taking my time to pick where my pages were gonna go and all that. So it's not done. It's definitely a work in progress, but I suspect you'll see a journal flip on this in about a week or so. Probably I'm gonna do a little more on the spine, and I'm gonna do some work on the cover. And so yeah, all these pages we learned a lot of techniques on her from her new book that's coming out soon. It's called, I think it's going to be called Printmaking Unleashed. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but I think that's going to be the name. And so yeah, it was amazing. We learned a lot of techniques. I learned so much. I mean, I've taken printmaking classes before, and I did a whole residency in printmaking at Penland. You've heard me mention Penland Arts and Crafts School up in North Carolina, and she taught me so much more, like just amazing, amazing, amazing. So big thank you to Tracy for this weekend of amazing art making. Okay, so booking a day. So one of the things that happened to me this weekend too, I consider myself to be a bookbinder who was traditionally trained in that I know technique and I know sort of how to build structures and how to, get things precise and straight. And I think a lot of times my creativity gets stifled because of the technical part or the technical knowledge that I have and bring to the table. And a lot of this, the whole point of this Book in a Day series was for me to sort of break out of that sort of technical moment and start to create books that rely more on my creativity, and giving myself one day to do it, I thought would kind of force me out of that and force me more into a creative space, because I didn't have time for all of the sort of technical pre-planning that you do when you're creating fine books that are bound in sort of a fine bookbinding method. And so one of the things that she did with me this weekend, or that I think I got from the workshop, was this sort of reminder that I am a creative being by nature, and I don't, you know, have to be so technical all the time. So blah blah blah. Anyway, I feel more free to get to the point. And so I wrote on the way home. My husband was driving. I wrote a poem that I'm going to that's going to be the content for today's book. So I'm going to go off camera to type that up and get that ready, which means I have to deal with my printer again. And if you've been watching these videos, you know that my printer and we are not friends very much. So let's please, I'm just going to cross my fingers and pray that the printer elves will be nice to me and they will do what I want them to do. Okay, so my goal today is to make a book using the artwork. So I took pictures before I ripped up all my pages to put into the book that we made at Tracy's workshop. I have images of the full pages that I made, so I'm actually going to use those as the backgrounds for the pages that I'm going to print. So that's my goal, that's my plan, to print out those pages and to print them and bind them using an accordion spine. I'm trying to keep it really simple. That's my goal. So I will see you back here on the other side of book 37. Hopefully for you it'll be in a second, but hopefully for me it won't be hours and hours. Okay, I'll see you back in a moment. Okay, so welcome back, and it is 1:11 a.m. and I'm actually pretty tired, to just keep it real. So I'm just gonna walk through what's happening. So I printed the images, and what I took them and I really like made the actual image transparent so that the words would stand out more. And I'm actually pretty happy with how they have turned out. I think I might have, if I were going to do this again, I might have used cream or buff colored paper instead of this really sort of stark white paper, because it's going to look very odd against this green paper that I'm using. But hey, that's the whole point of this weekend, is to trial and error, play around, see what you like, go with that. So that's what I'm doing. So I basically wrote a poem that has 4 sections, and each section sort of talks about the 4 elements that needed to be in place for this weekend to be successful. I needed to have the time to take the workshop, the space, and a catalyst, which is for this particular purposes was Tracy, and then permission. And so those are the 4 sections of this piece, and I'm calling the poem Unleashed because that's her line of books and products, and right, so I'm going with that. So yes, yeah, and then I printed a colophon. So these are the pages of the book, but I'm going to bind them using an accordion style binding. So I'm just going to score my lines for that, and I think I'm going to score them just to be safe. thinking, I'm nervous about doing this. I'm thinking I'm going to go with 4/8 just to be safe. Yeah, let's just try it and see what happens. Oh, this paper is doing a weird thing because of the kind of paint I have on here. So I printed the images on cardstock. And, oh, this paper is very tricky. I printed the images on cardstock, and this paper is actually some very lightweight, maybe printer paper that is colored. So it started off as a yellow color, and then I used some acrylic over the top of it. So we'll see how this turns out, but it's being very resistant to the score lines. So let's hope that this will be okay. I think I only need 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be 5. And 6. I actually think I might need to do one more. Let me think about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, I think that's actually probably good. But I'm going to do one more because this will be the line where I cut. Awesome. Okay, so I know it's probably difficult to see the score lines there. You can see them on this side though. So that's where I'm going to fold to make the spine for the book. So each of these is just going to get folded, and there's my bone folder too. And I'm folding it like an accordion, so back, forth, back, forth. And I did the score lines because that just, number one, it helps me get them straight. Because accordions can be tricky if you don't get your lines straight. Which, you know, who's to say that I will fold this straight anyway. But that's the goal, is to have your folds like this. So I'm thinking 1, 2. I'm just making sure I have enough. I actually think I don't have enough. I don't. So I need 2 more. Alright, so let me bring out my scoreboard again. Let's add 2 more to that. I'm holding my left hand down really, really firmly because this paper is very slippery. And I think I actually want to fold them opposite of the way I have, because I think I want this to be on the front tab. So I'm going to reverse my folds, which, you know, a good or a bad thing. You can't tell with an accordion. Oh, see, I can already see I did a bad fold there. Let's see if I can't rectify that before we move too far ahead. Those of you out there that are art journalers or mixed media artists in general, if you haven't tried the Blick version of acrylic, it's called Blick Acrylic, I think. It's actually not a bad. It's actually not a bad brand. Bad, you know, sort of. I can't even think of the words I'm trying to say. It's not a bad version, I guess. Okay, yeah, I think I want to have this be on the front of the book, that first fold. So then our second one will go here. Oh, maybe I should do them in order. That might help. Now I am going to use, to make my life easier at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to use, oh, you gotta be kidding me, I didn't count that right again. Okay. Let's make 2 more creases to be safe. Gotta love it. Trial and error. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Okay. Oh, this is going to be awkward because, oh no, it works out perfect. Wow. I'm just going to do another one to be safe because I don't want to have to come back to this board. To be perfectly honest, I don't want to come back to this board. Okay. Let us try this again. I think the first time I learned to fold an accordion fold, I had to redo it like 4 or 5 times. Especially when you're doing so many folds. It's really easy to, once the folds start to stack up like this, when you have that many, it's really easy to mess up the fold. So I'm just going to open it out a little bit so that I can make sure my folds are somewhat straight. I can live with a little bit of wonkiness, but not too much. I'd like it to be somewhat straight. Okay, one more time with the stacking of the pages. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so I actually need to cut it right there. Or, oh man, if that had gone all the way across, I could cut that and glue that down completely. I would like that a lot. I believe I would anyway. Let's see, how would that function as a oh yeah, I might do that. I know in my mind already, I know that it's going to throw off my spacing if I cut this, if I cut these pages off. Oh yeah, I can't do it. Oh, bummer. Okay, so I am cutting off this last piece. Alright, let's go cut there. Please, please pray for me that I cut that properly. Alright, so I'm just going to find some double-sided tape and I'll be right back. Okay, beautiful creative people, it is 1:40 a.m. and I am done with book 37. I'm calling it Unleashed, a poem, because it's one poem in 4 movements, and it features in the background some of my artwork that I did in Tracy's workshop this weekend. So in some of the pages, the artwork is really super faded in the background so that the words, the text stands out. But it's done, the book is done, and my printer only gave me 1 issue the whole time. Well, okay, that's not true. 3 issues, but only 1 major issue that I had to fix, but it worked. It didn't take me hours and hours to print, and I'm happy with the end product. So the one thing I realized as I was taping these together, I think when I got to the second one, is that I probably should have left myself a little more room so that the accordion can actually be an accordion. But if you can see there, it still opens a little bit. I did 4/8. If I had done 5 or 6/8, it would probably, well, two things it would have done would have given me a larger margin of green here, which I'm actually happy with just the thin strip, but that's what it would have done, that, and it would have increased the space between each of these. So if you decide to make a book like this, keep in mind that that can be a major moment to think about. Okay, book 37 is done. I think I'm actually going to create a pocket for this to live in, but for today, the book is done. Book 37, Unleashed, a poem inspired by the Create, Journal, Love workshop facilitated by Tracy Bautista. So thank you so much for watching. I am signing off because I'm super tired, and I'll see you back here next week. I think I'm actually going to try to do the book on Tuesday, which is like 2 days from now. We'll see if my creative juices can regenerate themselves in time for me to do that. Have a wonderful week, and whatever you're doing, create something beautiful. See you next week.